causing that stoppage. 8:12 remaining in the second period. Boston 2, Philadelphia 1. Milbury opened the scoring in the first period, 17:04. Then Barber and Park. Major penalties to Kelly of Philadelphia and Cashman of the Boston Bruins. And Bobby Clark comes back out again, number 16 for Philadelphia against Shepard. Clark up the draw. LaPointe shoots it in. Back of the net is Rick Smith. Smith stopped by McLeish. McLeish back of the net for Clark. Clark around the goal. He was checked. Clark still fighting for it. Now it comes in front. And a high shot by McLeish went over the top of the Boston. Another shot. This time a low drive. Stopped by Smith. Smith trying to move it out. The Flyers with some pressure on now. Daly keeping it in. But Doak would clear it. On the boards for Schmatz. And it comes to center ice. Boston nearly getting away. Shepard, he was stopped though. Here's Leach after it. Leach against Smith. Puck rolls loose for Shepard. Shepard for Boston, up to Schmatz. One man back. Bobby Schmatz coming in with Middleton. And Perrot made the stop, and the rebound was grabbed by Daly. Clark at center, stopped by Shepard. Shepard coming in. You can tell Bobby Clark having great difficulty skating. LaPointe dropping it for Daly. Daly on the boards for Leach coming to center. Here's Leach across the line with McLeish. Leach going in, and he was upended before he could get his shot away. Now it's Kindrachuk looking around. Back of the net it goes for LaPointe. Shepard ran into him heavily. Kindrachuk with his shot. Rebound! Oh! That was knocked away by Middleton, or rather Milbury, just before it crossed the line. It was heading for the net. Here's LaPointe shooting one, score! LaPointe took the shot. It was deflected, I think, in front of the net. But, you know, Brian and Bill, the last 2 minutes, it's been all Philadelphia.
You're right. They have really played a strong second period here. And McLeish and Kindrachuk almost scored just before this one trickled into the corner. We'll wait to see who gets official credit for it. Holmgren is 17, Kindrachuk 26. But LaPointe shot through traffic. Wasn't redirected. It may have been by Kindrachuk. At any rate, it's a 2-2 tie with 6:20 to play.
You know, the Flyers are a hated team by many fans. They are accused of using over-aggressive tactics, but you really can't deny the fact that they are a team which plays with drive and desire every time they step on the ice, and they deserve some credit for that. You can't take that away from them.
I'll tell you, Bill, they showed a lot of heart in the last minute and a half. They just kept going for that tying goal. You could almost tell they had to score, and they did. Kindrachuk got the goal. He, in fact, tipped it in. LaPointe took the shot from the blue line. It's tied 2-2. Holmgren breaking for the net. He couldn't center it. Now he does. Scores! Kindrachuk again, knocking it by Cheevers, and Philadelphia have gone ahead 3-2.
What a stunning show by the Flyers here in a matter of seconds as Kindrachuk scores a pair. He deflected that one right past Cheevers. We'll get the time between the goals, something like 11 seconds. 11 seconds, Kindrachuk scores 2 goals. There it is.
There's the goal. Now we're back to the live action. It's 3-2. Philadelphia leading for the first time in the game. 5:50 remaining in the second period. Holmgren ran into Milbury. Bladen in his own zone. It's in the center ice area. McNabb gave it to Milbury. Milbury going in with O'Reilly and McNabb. McNabb shoots one, a low shot. Hit Jim Watson. And it's hooked high in the air down to center ice. Milbury saw it all the way and gave it to O'Reilly. O'Reilly got away from the check thrown by Holmgren. Now Jim Watson for McLeish winding up. And can he skate when he gets room? He shoots it off the boards. As the Flyers change with the play going on, and it's jammed on the boards now loose, and O'Reilly brings it out. O'Reilly down to Marcotte. That was stopped, and Marcotte failed to move in with McLeish taking over. McNabb watching him. McLeish dropping it back for LaPointe, coming out of his own zone. He was stopped by McNabb. McNabb's pass too far for Schmatz. And LaPointe was stopped by Schmatz. He moved it with his glove as he fell. And then McLeish knocked down. Here's a chance from the line. And a long shot by Doak went off his skate and wide. Down the ice behind Cheevers. He's out of the net again. Dornhofer couldn't keep it in. It's in the center ice area. The Flyers hurriedly getting onside. And Marcotte ran into his man LaPointe, then got a return check on the boards. Marcotte still handling it though. Over for Schmatz. Schmatz at the line. Hooked the high one in wide to the Philadelphia net. Philadelphia leading in the game 3-2 here in the second period. With 4:15 remaining. It's cleared to the line and out over. Jonathan couldn't keep it in. Here's Doak, number 25. He shoots it in. LaPointe taking his time going back. He rolled it on the boards. Dornhofer was stopped by Rattel. But now McLeish backhands it down to the Boston line. Here's Rick Smith's pass to Schmatz going wide. Over his stick and Perron out of the net to grab it and hang on to it.
2 goals in 11 seconds by Oris Kindrechuk puts Philadelphia in front by 1.
It's been a great comeback for Philadelphia Flyers here in the second period. And they're up by a goal now. Milbury from the corner. Out to the line for McNabb. McNabb's pass going in to Schmatz. And he was knocked down and Perron hangs on to it. You'll hear the fans now going, but Schmatz was breaking in at great speed and was knocked off stride. Here it is.
Well, not only can Bobby Schatz shoot the puck with the best in the National Hockey League, but he skates as well as almost anyone. Just made it around Mel Bridgman, but I think Mel got a piece of him, and Bernie made the right play. He knew he was in trouble, and see how far out of the net he comes to cut down Schmatz's angle.
Looks a bit like his mentor, Jacques Plante, on that play. He used to stop him like that.
Here's Bladen, number 3, back of the net, around the goal. He came in front of the net dangerously, but moved it out in time. Holmgren for Philadelphia. Holmgren is stopped at center ice. Kindrechuk was offside, up over center. It'll come back. 2:22 remaining in the second period. Philadelphia coming from behind to tie and then take the lead on Kindrechuk's 2 goals. It's 3-2 as you look at Fred Sherrill at the Philadelphia bench. And McNabb, number 8, getting the draw. But Bladen, a pass for LaPointe. LaPointe to center. Milbury stopped it. And now Bridgman shoots it in for Philadelphia, and Park is back quickly. Park against Holmgren. On the boards, went by Marcotte. McNabb is after it. McNabb going in with Schmatz. Right in! Bobby Schmatz set up brilliantly by McNabb, and it's 3-3.
This whole building is rocking now. Just over 2 minutes to play. The Bruins come back to get the tie. Nice little move by Schmatz in front of Bernie Perron.
Well, Peter McNabb makes the play here. Watch this pass. Perfect pass across to Schmatz, who fakes the shot and has Bernie completely to one side of the net. All he had to do was stuff it in his backhand.
Here's that move again.
No doubt Bernie's anticipating the shot. He's out to cut down that angle, and once Schmatz makes his move, Bernie's just too far to the one side to get any piece of it at all.
Schmatz has 10 goals against the Flyers in 9 games this year.
And that was one of the prettiest.
Indeed it was.
A great goal by Schmatz and McNabb. McNabb setting it up, and it's 3-3. Long shot, tipped away by Bernie Perron. Kelly waits for it to come back down. Kelly bumped by Cashman. Their penalty's over, and they're bumping again rather heavily on the boards. 1:33 remaining in the period. Boston with some pressure on now. Lonsberry backing up in his own zone against Daly. McLeish in the corner, bumped by Cashman. They go off stride, and again they hold it. And another face-off coming up now. Cashman is pushing with Jimmy Watson, and you can see all the players milling around. It wouldn't take much to get them going. But you know, Bill Clement, I don't know if the fans can ever get the feeling. You're a hockey player. You've had this feeling. Here you are playing in the Stanley Cup semifinal. There are 18 teams in the National Hockey League, and to get this far, and now you look at the Stanley Cup final, and who knows what'll happen then. You gotta have that pressure.
The pressure is great, and it's difficult to restrain yourself at times, and it is the disciplined professional athlete that can restrain himself. and not let himself get away out there and start taking stupid penalties. You see a lot of shoving, a lot of pushing, but nobody wants to be the one that puts his team at a disadvantage at this stage of the game.
A lot of bumps and bruises and cuts on those faces. I hope they took their team picture before the playoffs, because there have been a lot of people nursing minor injuries and a couple of major injuries, I'm sure. Perhaps we don't know as much about as we could.
Well, these teams have come a long way, as we've said, and here they are in the 5th game of the semifinal. The Montreal Canadiens defeating the Leafs in 4 straight, sitting back at home waiting for the winner of this series. And it's Philadelphia coming in. Here's Kelly with Barber. Rattel broke it up and cleared it down the ice. Barber was back. Barber at his own blue line. Coming to center with McLeish. He didn't get very far. Cashman in with Rattel. Rattel gets set. 1 minute left in the 2nd period. Kelly couldn't move it out. Rattel took a shot, and it bounced up high, and LaPointe knocked it away with his glove. Here's Milbury. He took a shot, a low one, nowhere near the net. And Barber coming out for Philadelphia. Barber's long pass, stopped by McLeish. One man back, McLeish. Can he get through? No. He's knocked down by Milbury, and Park ahead for Rattel with Jonathan on his left. And Rattel is stopped at the Philadelphia blue line. For 26, he scored 2 goals for Philadelphia in the 2nd period to give them a lead until Schmaltz tied it up. 3 threes to score during the 6-minute mark of the 3rd period. Here's McNabb keeping it in. He centers it. It comes to the line. Milbury took a shot. It's deflected. McNabb has it again. McNabb all over the zone. A play back to Milbury. He's stopped by Bridgman. Bridgman coming out with Holmgren and a neat pass for Kindrachuk. Kindrachuk going in. He's stopped by Brad Park. Joe Watson kept it in. It's cleared out over the line to Marcotte coming to center. Marcotte takes a long shot off the boards in the corner. And Watson played it ahead for Philadelphia, but it's not out of the zone. Park kept it in. Bridgman again moved it up to the center ice area. Here's Bladen. Back to the line. Cashman stopped to McNabb. McNabb took it. Milbury took a shot, and that was wide. Brad Park winding up at the blue line. He lets it go, and that was off a stick and wide. Perrott goes down, and a goal out. They score. Marcotte slugged it in high before Perrott could find it. And the Bruins take a 4-3 lead.
There's Bedlam in the Boston Garden now as the Bruins off the bench swarm around Don Marcotte. Bill Clementi got that puck just up. I thought it bounced off the crossbar and then into the net.
I think it may have hit the crossbar. Brian come and hit Bernie in the back and got in the net. But the thing to note here is that the Bruins had constant pressure, and it finally did come out to Marcotte. If it hadn't been Marcotte, it could have been somebody else. They just swarmed all over the Flyers for that goal.
We'll get a look at it from this angle. I think maybe you're right. It did hit Perrott first, then the bar up above. Let's see. Here's the rebound. It'll come a bouncing puck out to Marcotte. The shot on its way. Perrott got a piece of it up underneath.
It actually did enter the net on its original path.
So it's 4-3 now. Boston leading again. And Philadelphia offside of the Boston Bruins. The scoring play was Marcotte from McNabb and Cashman at 6:18. And it's 4-3 Boston. So they're coming up to the 7-minute mark of the 3rd period. As Cheevers grabbed the long one. Smith cleared it off Middleton's stick. Daly at his own blue line up to McLeish. McLeish coming down to center. McLeish plays it in for Lonsberry. Here's Lonsberry into the corner against Rick Smith and Jean Rattel. Right back out for the Boston Bruins. His pass jumped over the stick of Middleton. This will be icing as Jim Watson picks it up.
Bill Clement, you talked about discipline earlier, and when a bouncing puck comes out like that on a rebound, the temptation is to whack at it. I thought Marcotte showed good restraint here. Watch him, 21.
Well, one thing that I haven't been able to understand is why Bernie kicked the rebound right out to him. It was a dangerous place to put the rebound, and you're right. Marcotte just waited, and Bernie was still down and right into the top of the net. You know, having played in a number of playoff games, it hurts me to see the Flyers sitting on the bench because I've been in this position, and it's really scary when you think that, gee, you got 13 minutes to play, and, you know, you could wake up tomorrow morning and have your whole lifestyle change so drastically. It's all over. If everything's over, and for a minute, if you don't concentrate on the game completely, it gets scary out there.
Well, let's see if they can tie it up again. They played 6:59 of the 3rd period. The Bruins are up by a goal. Here's Kelly's backhand shot. Kelly had a great chance earlier on the breakaway. Here's LaPointe shooting. And Kelly is knocked down in front of the net. The Bruins come back. Jonathan coming in. Jonathan puts the brakes on near the boards. Jonathan in for Cashman. Cashman back of the net. Comes in front. He centered it, but nobody was there to get a stick near it. Back for Brad Park in his own zone. Kelly in watching him. And Park got a pass up the center. Bladen knocked it down. And it's cleared back for Jonathan. Jonathan up for Cashman. He didn't get the pass. Stopped by LaPointe. LaPointe picks his way through. LaPointe nearly got all the way. Here's Clark back for LaPointe and the Bruins. Brad Park, a pass to Cashman, one man back. He's in with Jonathan. Cashman couldn't get the shot. Here's another chance. And his backhander was weak and stopped in front of the net. Bladen went after it. So did Cashman. They fight for possession, and Kelly was there to bring it out. Kelly's pass out to Kinrichuk, and center is Jonathan. He stopped it, backhands it into the zone again. And LaPointe up the ice at center. He'll shoot it from there. And Cheevers grabbed that one and knocked it down for Milbury. Jonathan on the boards to center ice. Mott's the stop. Now Philadelphia waiting for Holmgren to come back inside. He didn't wait long enough. Kinrichuk didn't, and Holmgren was offside.
We have a report on Moose DuPont. He's been taken to the Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary, and they'll check on his left eye.
And now the Bruins coming on with Middleton on the left side. Rattel comes into center ice. Neil Armstrong, the linesman, dropping it in, and it comes back near the boards. McLeish keeping it in. Rattel in the corner. He's bumped by Dornhofer. Dornhofer got him off the puck, but then Milbury holds it. It's knocked loose again. Milbury once more. Will they get a whistle? Yes, they do this time. And they'll get another face-off in the Boston zone. Bill Clement, I don't suppose with a one-goal lead, the Bruins would tend to try to nurse that at this stage with them, where they're leading 3-1 in the series.
Well, we talked about this last game in Montreal. Everybody knows that they have to carry the play to the other team, but the natural tendency is to go into a shell. It'll be interesting to see if they can avoid doing it.
The puck goes flying into the Boston zone. Hoyda is on again. He gets loose in the corner, took a check, but got a pass back to LaPointe. LaPointe ahead for McLeish. In for Hoyda, went by him though. In back of the net. Clark ran into Dornhofer back there. Up the line, Middleton moved it out. Philadelphia got it in, and Park got it out to O'Reilly a second time. He shot it off the board. Blake back of the net. A jam back there. O'Reilly back for Milbury. Milbury gets set into the corner for O'Reilly. O'Reilly stopped on the boards. Now Rattel put a shot on Perron, and Bernie Perron stopped it, making the stick save. And then he held it with 9:59 remaining in the third period. Boston 4 and Philadelphia 3. This has been quite a hockey game from the opening whistle.
A lot of noise in here tonight, and the winner of this series will go on to meet the Montreal Canadiens. And for Montreal, it'll be their 25th time in the final series.
Gee, that is
You're a little bit ahead of Atlanta.
only 25 years.
The Bruins, every man up. It's cleared into the corner. Perron out of the net back there, tipping it for Kelly. Kelly took a check from Cashman. They served fighting majors earlier in the game, Kelly and Cashman. What a brawl that was from close quarters. Now it's Rick Smith coming in with Cashman. A long pass went in wide of the net. Joe Watson back of the goal. He left it for Jimmy Watson. He played it on the boards, and Kelly was stopped by Shepard. Couldn't move on it. It'll be icing as Doak touches it behind Cheevers. Philadelphia have Barber at center ice to take this face-off in his own zone. Jimmy Watson has moved up to the rim of the circle on the left side. Kelly, Daly, and Leach. On the right side, it goes to Daly. He cleared it right away. And Rick Smith on the defense with Gary Doak racing back. Cheevers out of the net, scooped it up, gave it to Cashman. Cashman is stopped. The Flyers keep it in. Here's Kelly in the corner. Kelly didn't have anybody to pass it to. The Bruins covering everybody with a blanket. And it's Cashman, a long pass for Jonathan. That went behind him and off the boards. Daly out for Kelly. Kelly coming down against Cope. Shoots it in high to the left of Cheevers. Milbury couldn't clear it out. Daly kept it in. And now Milbury again, stopped by Kelly. Kelly got loose. Two Bruins collided. Cashman and Shepard. Cashman is slow getting up inside that Boston line. He has to go off. There's Wayne Cashman. And he, I think, has been injured.
Well, that's one of those things that happens every once in a while. Two teammates collide. In this case, Cashman and Shepard. And Cashman was certainly rocked by that collision. Usually, Bill, when this happens, you don't see your teammate coming.
That's exactly right, Brian. You're conscious of the fact that the opposition is going to try and hit you out there, but when two teammates collide, it can lead to serious injury since you're never expecting it.
Well, this has been a bruising, fast skating hockey game. They've been flying out there, folks, and they're coming again. Here's the point that he went flying himself at the Boston blue line. Bladen will try it now. Philadelphia have to pull out the stops now to try to get back into this game and this series. Here's a long shot stopped by Cheevers. 8 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the third period. McNabb can't get to it quickly enough. The point in front of his own net coming out against McNabb. He stops. McNabb roots at it and knocked it in behind the Philadelphia goal. Bladen is back. Now 8 minutes remaining in the third period. Here's Milbury for McNabb. And he took the shot. A weak one. It's deflected wide. Perrant back of the goal. LaPointe has it. LaPointe has some difficulty against Marcotte. And now Bladen's high pass hit Holmgren. He couldn't control it. That's out the center anyway. Bridgman has stopped. Now McNabb going in. Shoots through. McNabb. And it's 5-3 Boston. What an opportunist.
Peter McNabb has 5 points tonight. 1 goal and 4 assists. And the crowd giving him a standing ovation.
That's not bad for a man that's been accused of only being able to score goals. He set up some pretty goals tonight and has just played a superb game. An opportunist or not, he has the ability to lead an offensive drive and to really do something every time he enters the offensive zone. He's obviously a dangerous threat every time he's out there.
Well, we'll look at it from this angle, Bill. Puck on its way now. McNabb, center of the net. And it's 5-3. The Bruins in front. 1 goal and 4 assists in the scoring tonight for Peter McNabb. Max McNabb, his dad down in Washington, will be very proud of his son. And a hoot and a holler goes up in the Boston Garden for Peter McNabb and the Boston Bruins. They now have a 2-goal bulge over the Philadelphia Flyers.
Well, that's a big goal for Peter McNabb and the Boston Bruins. And the Bruins have that 2-goal cushion now. And play is called at center ice. 7 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in the third period. With the Boston Bruins leading 5-3, Peter McNabb taking advantage of an opportunity near the Philadelphia line to go in and beat Bernie Perrant at 12:22 of this third period. And that could be a big, big goal. Bill Tennant, you mentioned the Philadelphia Flyers a while ago. Now, our broadcast position is just behind them. We're only about 30 feet away. And you look down at the Flyers, and they look very, very low now. 7:10 remaining in the third period. But you never know in this game of hockey. Anything can happen. Down the ice it goes again. And Philadelphia will get another opportunity with that face-off up into the Boston zone.
That goal by McNabb was unassisted at 12:22. Bill?
Here it is. He's got a great wrist shot. He shoots it low, perhaps between Bernie's legs. Bernie made the right play. Once again, he's out in position to cut down the angle, but gee, somehow he found an opening there. We'll never know how.
You have to admire a young fella growing up in San Diego and wanting to play the game so badly, taking all the practice time he can get at a disadvantage behind Canadian kids and kids in the northern states, then going on to college and from there to the Buffalo Sabres. free agent exchange to the Boston Bruins. He's big, he's strong, he's worked awfully hard on the skills of hockey. You hear Howie Meeker talk about the skills. Here's a guy that really works at it.
6:59 remaining in the third period. And you can hear the fans in the background, quite probably, chanting a song or two in favor of the Bruins. There it is. Down into the Philadelphia zone. This Boston crowd is really something else. The Philadelphia Flyers down 2 goals. Making another effort, but stopped at center ice was Barber. Shepard is coming in now. Here's Shepard with Cashman in front of the net, being upended. And it's Kelly racing right back with McLeish on the right side and couldn't get Barber's pass. Jonathan for Boston. In was Shepard. Right in front of the net, Shepard was covered. And Tom Bladen for the Philadelphia Flyers. Out with Leach. At center, he shoots a long one in wide of the net. They pour in after it, but Park takes over. Brad Park played it in off a stick to the corner, and McNabb knocked it down the ice. And now, 5:55 remaining in the third period. Can Philadelphia fight back? They're down 2 goals. It's Boston 5 and Philadelphia 3. Here's Schmaltz. Schmaltz shooting! And that shot, a hot one, was wide on the short side of the net. The Bruins keep it in, though, thanks to Milbury's work along the boards. Daly in the corner. The Bruins changing on the go. Daly's pass was stopped. McNabb again nearly stole it. Now Kindred-Chuck winding up inside his own line. Kindred-Chuck, a pass down, bounced off. Holmgren over the boards at the Bruins bench. And now we have 5:25 remaining in the third period. It's 5-3 Boston, live from the Boston Garden, the Stanley Cup playoffs. From the face-off near center ice, it's Doak, number 25, coming in for Boston. They clear it in back of the net. Schmaltz overskated it. And coming out is Jimmy Watson for Kindred-Chuck. Stopped by McNabb. Briefly, Kindred-Chuck got it again and shoots it in. Rick Smith with a high stick made contact. We mentioned a little while ago, Brian and Bill Clement, about the Bruins going into a shell. They're certainly not in a shell now. They got a goal. That was a little bit of a break when McNabb stole that puck, but they've been coming on for more.
Well, still the Bruin defensemen are meeting the Flyers on the blue line, and you talked about a possible comeback. I doubt very much that the Flyers can come back, namely because Bobby Clark is sitting down on the bench. He's very ineffective with that injury. If Bobby Clark was out there, anything might happen, but while the Flyers have some great players and great shooters, the Bruins seem to be in control with 5 minutes to play.
Cheevers grabbed that high one. And he gets a hand from the crowd. There's Jerry Cheevers, Bill.
Well, Bob, with the Flyers staring in the face of elimination now, I can tell you that there's an empty feeling, which is almost a sickening feeling in their whole bodies, and it's just spreading right across the bench right now. With 5 minutes to go, they're 2 goals down, and as I mentioned earlier, they're going to go through a little lifestyle change early tomorrow morning if they can't come up with 2 goals quickly, and it's a sick feeling.
Well, to come up with 2 goals the way the Boston Bruins have been playing here in this hockey game, and especially here in this third period, that's a tough task. Here's Bladen shooting one. That was tipped wide. But the momentum has changed in this game both ways. First Philadelphia, then Boston. Back and forth like that, so you never know. They have 4:45 remaining. Lots of time. It's cleared into the Boston zone and out again as Cashman got a stick on it. McLeish for Hoyda, too far. Bladen for LaPointe. LaPointe shoots it in. 4:30 remaining in the third period. Milbury after it. He was bumped. They hold it on the boards in the corner in the Boston zone to the left of Cheevers. And the play is called. Barber, Kelly, Leach, Jim Watson, and Daly. 5 fresh ones come from the bench for Philadelphia.
Well, they might look fresh from here.
Well, I was going to say, how fresh can you be in this third period at this stage?
Well, as Don Cherry put a little needle into the reporter's hide before the game, he was talking about a poll they conducted in one of the hockey magazines. The best this, the best that. And he says, nowhere out of 24 categories do I see a Boston Bruin. He said, we don't have the best forechecker, the best shooter, the best defenseman. We must have done something right to get this far.
That's not bad. They have one of the best teams. That's all that counts.
That's right.
4:22 remaining in the third period. Bruins. Don Marcotte can't get it out. Barber for Leach. He couldn't get a shot. Milbury. He played it off a stick down the ice. Right on the net. Perron stopped it. Now Jimmy Watson ahead for Kelly. Kelly moved it into the Boston zone. Brad Clark back there for the Boston Bruins. And with less than 4 minutes remaining now in the third period, the Bruins, you can sense, are tasting it. A berth in the Stanley Cup final against the Montreal Canadiens. They pile into the corner in the Philadelphia zone, and now 3:49 remaining, and the Bruins lead it 5-3.
I asked Don Cherry earlier in the year if there was a team capable of knocking off the Montreal Canadiens, and without hesitation, he said, yeah, I think we can do it. They put us out and more or less humiliated us last year, and it'll be a different story this time around. So it shapes up as an interesting final with 3:49 to play. Not that we're conceding this game just yet to Boston, but it looks very much as though they're going to advance to Montreal Saturday night.
Well, Doak is on for the Bruins with Rick Smith, the two defensemen. Peter McNabb, who's been a standout. Here he is at center ice, number 8, with Schmaltz and Marcotte. Doak keeping it in. Schmaltz back of the net in the corner. Kinrachuk has it for Philadelphia. He dropped it. And the Bruins send in 3 men now. 2 of them forechecking deep. Going to be tough to get it going, Philadelphia, but here they come with this effort led by Kinrachuk. Kinrachuk shoots it in. Wide of the net. Peters out of the goal. Up on the glass high. The Flyers keep it in, though. Holmgren along the boards. A pile of players there, but it comes to center ice. Now Bridgman gets it again at his own blue line. Stopped by Marcotte. He shoots it into the Philadelphia zone. And now they have 3 minutes remaining in the third period. 5-3 Boston. LaPointe strong shot wide of the net. Rick Smith let it go by him off the boards, and here's Shepard coming in. He's in with Jonathan stopping in the corner. Jonathan then taken out of the play by Daly. Kinrachuk comes out. Away from Cashman he goes. Kinrachuk played it in for Bridgman. 2:40 remaining. Here's Daly closing in. Can't get control of it. A 2-man break. One is back. Cashman for Jonathan. And he couldn't set it up. Here's Shepard. And his shot whipped wide. A hard drive high and wide of the Philadelphia net. 2:25 remaining in the third period. McLeish making a great effort, but he couldn't get by the second defenseman, Milbury, who's played a good game for Boston tonight. Opened the scoring, and he's been solid back there defensively. Here's Leach. He got away from Milbury, though, this time. Cheevers out of the net. Will hold it now. And they get a whistle with 2 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in the third period.
To play, McNabb has 5 points for the Bruins tonight. That's one shy of the record held by Dickie Moore, Phil Esposito, Darryl Sittler, and Guy Lafleur.
And now 2 minutes remaining in the third period. The Bruins that far away from advancing against the Canadiens of Montreal, the defending Stanley Cup champions. Here's Rattel for Marcotte. And Perron came up big again on that save. Middleton keeps it in for Rattel. Rattel bumped by Bladen. McLeish has it. 1:40 remaining in the third period, ladies and gentlemen. Philadelphia trailing by 2 goals and trying desperately to get something going. But look, they cannot. The Bruins forechecking. Marcotte, his shot wide of the Philadelphia net. Middleton is in after McLeish. So is Rattel. But McLeish weaves his way out over the line. McLeish up the center. You never know. Here he goes. Gets in front and they jam him out of the play. It's kept in by Jim Watson. 1:15 remaining. Watson kept it in. Philadelphia net is empty now. They have 6 attackers on. At the blue line and out over. Rattel, empty net. Goal! Rattel has done it now for sure. He threw the puck from his own blue line. Not often they do that. They usually wait till they get across center, but that's how accurate he is. And it's 6-3 Boston.
It looks like it's just about it for the Philadelphia Flyers. And I think it's rather appropriate that Jean Rattel be the man that puts the icing on the cake with this empty net goal. Just had a tremendous game, a great series, and as we mentioned earlier, he's one of the steadiest performers and most durable performers in the NHL, as well as being a class person. And that's just about it for the Flyers. It looks like it's going to be Saturday night in Montreal.
18:56, the time of that goal, an empty net goal, Brian. Good shot, really, by Rattel, but as I was saying, they usually wait till they get across center. If it had been wide, of course, they had a bad face-off in their own zone.
Well, with a 2-goal lead, it makes a little difference, and Rattel is so accurate anyway. It's only fitting, I think, that he gets this goal at 18:56 from Don Marcotte. Minute 4, and here's a big story in this game. Bobby Clark, very disconsolate, sitting at the Philadelphia bench. LaPointe next to him has been great. LaPointe playing his last game as a Philadelphia Flyer. Dornhofer right next to him, number 12, his final appearance in a Flyer uniform. There's the message from the Boston Bruin fans.
Well, there it is. Rattel scoring from just outside his own blue line into the empty net, vacated by Bernie Parent in favor of the 6th attacker. And it's 6-3 Boston. 1 minute remaining in the 3rd period. And the Bruins will go on to meet the Montreal Canadiens for the Stanley Cup 1978 edition. That should be a great series, and you can see it all here on Hockey Night in Canada in its entirety.
Well, we've enjoyed having you with us again, Bill Clement. I think you've done an outstanding job anytime you've appeared with us, and you'll be welcome back anytime.
Thanks, Brian. Give me a chance to say that it's so easy when you're working with professional people such as you and Bob and all the other people that I've worked with. Have just made it so easy for me.
Well, thank you in return. 45 seconds left now.
3 goals, the Bruins lead. And O'Reilly going in with McNabb. McNabb gets a chance to move up, but he failed to get a shot away. 30 seconds remaining in the hockey game. Here's Doak back in his own zone. Boston leading 6-3. Jimmy Watson back at his own blue line. Jimmy Watson handles the puck with 15 seconds left in the game. Kinrachuk and Hoyda. Kinrachuk looking for a hole. It's just about over. The backhand shot is stopped by Cheevers. This Boston Garden is going wild now. With 6 seconds left, Watson took his shot. It escaped, and ladies and gentlemen, it's over. And they go wild here in Boston. And get ready for the Stanley Cup Final 1978. As you look at the jubilant Bruins, the Canadiens and the Bruins will fight it out again for the Coupe Stanley.
Well, I haven't heard this place rock like this since the glory days of Orr and Esposito. 72, they won the Stanley Cup, and now they challenge the Montreal Canadiens once again. And we should pass along a word of praise or two to the Philadelphia Flyers. Without Clark, they gave it a good shot here tonight. Cheevers goes right to the dressing room. He just raced right off the ice. All the other Bruins standing up now, taking congratulations from the Philadelphia Flyers.
Well, that's one thing I've never understood about Jerry Cheevers. He has his reasons for it, but at the end of a season, when it's all over and you've just eliminated another team, I'm really a big endorser of the sportsmanship-like gesture of shaking hands with the opposition. It's a